The Blackout Club is finally out of early access, and with that, we have a very unique take on not only horror design, but also co-op and stealth gameplay. And while the game has some great concept and lore to it, I don't know the gameplay really matches or rises to that occasion. But the story is that we are a teenager in a small town, and it turns out there is a mysterious entity at work who has possessed the minds of all the parents and adults in the town, and at night we tend to, well, as the title implies, black out. So, the teens have formed their own little society trying to figure out what's going on and save everybody. So it's essentially if the Midnight Society combined with the Thieving Guild from like any kind of MMO or RPG. But the game itself is played real time and makes use of a focus of stealth and procedural generation for its content. In terms of the stealth mechanics itself, the game detects both sight and sound, and that is that little indicator you see in the bottom of the screen there. And some enemies are more attentive to one or the other. Now, the game space itself is very unique in terms of how it presents challenges. The game is divided into 3 sections in terms of neighborhoods and places in the town. Every section has kind of this neighborhood that you see here, as well as the underground tunnels, which are kind of like where the bad guys have their base. The map itself is hard-coded, but what the game does is that it will randomly choose what mission objectives when you start a new game for you to do in the town, and then those objectives are then going to be placed in different parts. So it creates that sense of a procedural mission on each playthrough. And your job is to complete all the objectives, and there are a few bonus ones as well that can pop up. Now, with that said though, you do have a punishment or you do have a lost state to keep in track of. While you can't see it in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, but you have a quote unquote health bar. If a character catches you, unless you have a defensive item to properly get away, they will cost you some of your stamina. And you can recover stamina by using a kind of a healing item. If your stamina drops too far, characters can kind of capture you, and you'll have to either get somebody to help you, or hopefully grab an item as you're being dragged away and save yourself like that. Now, what the game does in order to track how badly you're doing is it gives players sins. And you can't see them, at least in this version of the game, but when your sin count gets too high, you'll summon the entity, which is basically an invisible force that will try and capture and possess you. If it possesses you, you can have your friends kind of revive you. But if the entire group is taken out, then the mission is considered failed. And the game itself can be played with anywhere from 1 to 4 players at the same time. And there's also a quasi-PvP mode where players can invade other people's games to try to help out the bad guys. And as you play through the Blackout Club, the major form of progression comes in the form of your character's kind of, I guess, accountant level or something like that. As you complete missions, you'll go up in level. And for each level you unlock, it will provide you with skill points, which we'll talk about in our next section when we get to kind of the customization aspect. But your character level also determines the overall difficulty of the mission, and that is based on the hosts. So somebody who is high level can take a bunch of low level people into a harder mission, maybe get them more experience. Or a low level can start the mission, making it a little bit easier for everyone. And as you go up in level, the game will introduce basically more mission types, more enemies and traps, and you get the picture. And this all sounds great. And the Blackout Club is best if you can get a group of friends to play together with them. There's a lot of subtleties to kind of advanced tactics, including combining characters with various items and skills, that kind of goes unnoticed if you're playing with a bunch of pubs. But, like I said at the start, while the design and the lore are great, it doesn't quite, I think, fully come together. And a major point about that, I feel, is the progression. But we're going to take a quick Patreon supporter and shout out break, and when we return, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, and kind of where the Blackout Club stumbles a little bit. And now a quick shout out to our current Game Wisdom Patreon supporters and sponsors. And if you'd like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, link down below. When it comes to what you do outside of playing the Blackout Club, the game features both customization and personalization options. You can personalize your character, as you see here, with a variety of clothing, emotes, as well as update your quote-unquote little hideout. And this costs snacks, which is the in-game currency, and snacks are earned by completing missions. At this time, there doesn't seem to be a way to buy them or any kind of in-game microtransactions like that. But the more important aspects of playing the game involve the personalization, and you can personalize your character in two different ways. You can apply power points to major and minor powers. Minor powers are passive buffs, while major ones come in basically as a special move that you can perform. I chose the takedowns, which basically lets me knock down people a lot easier and get them off my friends. But you can also use or upgrade your phone for distractions, get a drone, and I forget off the top of my head what is the fourth one. But these are the main ways of affecting how your character plays. You can also choose at the beginning of one of three hero items: the taser, the crossbow, and the grappling hook. And those give you basically an item that you have access to at all times. Now, while all that sounds great on paper, the problem that I have with the Blackout Club is that I don't know if this gameplay is involving enough to keep someone invested in the long run, especially if you don't have friends available to play it with. With each power, it's kind of very situational in terms of their usage, and for the most part, you're just going to be making use of the game's basic mechanics of using the various items, sneaking around, and kind of closing your eyes to spot mission objectives. As I said in the last part, the synergies of the various powers really come into play if you have a group of people who can talk to each other and coordinate, which I don't know if everyone will get access to. But the mission structure itself unfortunately shows kind of the limits of procedural generation in this regard. Because the maps are hard-coded, it means that you're not really changing all that much where you're going or your overall strategies when you're doing a different mission. Now, as you level up your account and you unlock harder variants, that may change, but from when we play this on stream, it took about an hour or so of playing before I actually managed to level up from, I think, 5 to 6. I think it was from 4 to 6. And this becomes, I think, a bit of a grind. Especially, I think, with the final level being, I think, 13 or 15. And with that said, that also raises another question. What motivates you to keep playing once you've hit max level? At the start of when you play the Blackout Club, the lore and kind of the situation are on full display during the tutorial. But that kind of goes away once we start playing the missions here. And I would have liked to have seen more of an integration of the story into these missions. Maybe even having specific story-based missions or story events that can pop up. And I'm very curious to see what the developer will do in that regard to keep people playing the game. But with that said, to begin to wrap things up, the Blackout Club is a unique take on stealth, co-op, and even some basic procedural generation. And it works the very best with a group of friends. If you don't have it, I don't know if what's here is going to keep you playing in the long run. But I hope that the game does well enough to see them kind of keep supporting it and adding on. Because I love the concept and I love this kind of story of the teens basically becoming mini ninjas and trying to save the town. But with that said, we're going to wrap up this first look here. you'd like to play the game with us for a multiplayer game night, please let us know and join our Discord link down below. But I would like to thank developers for giving me a press key to check this one out. And if you'd like me to take a look at your game in the future, please don't hesitate to get in touch. But once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games. Once again, this has been the Blackout Club, and until next time, have a great night. If you're looking for a book on design, my first title, 20 Essential Games to Study, is out now. It is available where most books are sold, and it comes in paper, hardcover, or digital copies. This is the perfect book for anyone interested in learning about game design, whether you are a student, enthusiast, or just a fan. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel link down below where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it, and tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.